Heh, prayer candles? People think lighting one of these is going to solve their problems. If only it were that easy. Also, what happens if they go out? Does that mean your prayer gets canceled? Shh! What? It's an important question! The more I think about it, the more I want to test my theory about prayers being canceled if the candles go out. Well, that's all of them. Hope you made a wish. This angel looks like it would throw its lamp at you as soon as you turned your back on it. Now this is one intriguing chest. If only we could search it without arousing any suspicions.
I beg your pardon. Are you Tom Puffin?
I am. How may I help you?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I wanted to ask you a few questions.
Questions? Have I done something wrong?
No, Mr. Puffin. I simply believe you may have some information that I need.
Very well, then.
What were you doing on election night, Mr. Puffin?
Election night? That was ages ago, wasn't it?
It was 4 nights ago, to be precise.
Oh, you have to understand. I have trouble recalling what I ate for breakfast this morning, let alone what happened 4 nights ago.
Well, isn't that convenient?
Do try to remember, Mr. Puffin. It's quite important.
Well, I know I voted at my local polling place, the Silent Raven. And then, I'm not sure, actually.
Do you know anything about the murder outside the Silent Raven?
Murder?
Yes, a man was shot. Did you see or hear anything?
I don't remember. I don't think so, no.
How long were you at the Raven that evening?
Not very long, I don't think. I went, voted, stayed for a drink, and then I left.
Do you recall what you did the rest of the evening?
Not specifically. I probably went home and went to bed, like I always do.
Do you recognize the man in this photo?
Is that? No, never mind.
What is it?
Well, for a moment, I thought it was someone else, but I was clearly mistaken.
So you don't recognize this person, then?
Afraid not. Who is he?
His name is, or rather was, Ronan Lespay.
What? Is he dead?
He is. I'm trying to find out who killed him.
Well, I hope you find your man, Mr. Fordham.
Are you in the habit of using opium, Mr. Puffin?
What? Why would you think that?
I met your friend Darius. He told me you share a pastime.
All right, yes, I do enjoy a visit to the opium den from time to time.
From time to time? More like morning, noon, and night.
Have you found the drug has had any adverse effects? Memory loss, for example.
I admit I'm not quite as quick as I used to be, but without it, I'm in constant pain.
Is that right?
I fell off a horse when I was 15, and ever since then, my back's not been right. The doctors haven't been able to help. The poppy is my only comfort. I wish there were another way.
It might be worth seeking a more professional opinion about the effects of opium.
Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Priscilla? What does that have to do with anything?
The name has come up in my investigation. Is it someone you're acquainted with?
No, it isn't. I don't know anyone by that name.
You certainly seem concerned about her, though.
How did you become choir master of this church?
Oh, well, I studied music at the University of New Britannia. Once I completed my studies, I began writing symphonies in hopes of securing a patron, but I had no luck. So I decided to focus on choral compositions. I said a few pieces to the bishop, and he offered me the position.
And you enjoy it?
Oh, yes, sir, immensely. I'm able to continue composing songs for our choir, as well as teach music to our young members. I take my church duties very seriously.
What else do you do besides lead the choir?
Just a few things here and there, making sure the aisles and the pews are clean, tending to the prayer candles, that sort of thing.
So, what do you think of the election results?
All right, the election. Who won?
Leroy. He beat Atwood by a significant margin.
Oh, I suppose that's good. I think I may have voted for him, but I'm not sure.
It seems that all the prayer candles have gone out.
Have they? Blast, I keep saying there's a draft, but nobody's done anything about it. Excuse me for a moment, won't you?
Let's hope this chest hasn't got squeaky hinges.
Could I have another moment of your time, Mr. Puffin?
Yes, I suppose so.
Do you know anyone named Ned?
Ned? Well, yes, I do. My nephew, Ned Bunkridge.
Your nephew?
Yes, why do you ask?
Where might I find Ned? I'd like to speak with him.
Is everything all right? Ned hasn't gotten into any trouble, has he? I always tell him just because he's training his body, that's no excuse to pick fights.
No, he hasn't gotten into any trouble.
Oh, well, he lives in Lyon, at 511 Parkside Terrace.
Right. Thank you for the information. I'll let you resume your practicing, Mr. Puffin.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Right this way, sir. Mr. Bunkridge is in his gymnasium.
Thank you, my good man.
Well, you take a look at this place, and take a look at him. Maybe you should consider doing some training yourself, Miles. You aren't getting any younger after all. They don't look that heavy to me. This seems to be where Ned keeps his extra equipment, and assorted other garbage. What in the ether is that supposed to be? Looks like some kind of medieval torture device. Then again, so does most of this newfangled exercise equipment.
Excuse me, Mr. Bunkridge?
Oh, hello. Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. Your valet let me in.
Right, of course. What can I do for you?
I have a few questions for you, if you'd be so kind.
Yes, all right. I could use a bit of a rest anyway.
Are you familiar with a man named Ronan Lespay?
Never heard of him.
I have his portrait. Maybe you recognize him?
No, I've never seen this man before, but... Huh, how about that?
How about what?
The detail in this ferrotype is a bit fuzzy, but his facial features and hair, they vaguely resemble mine.
You know, now that he mentions it, it's true. Lespay does bear a passing resemblance to this fellow. Not quite as handsome, though.
So, you know nothing about the murder outside the Silent Raven 4 nights ago?
That's right. I don't even know what the Silent Raven is.
It's a bar in the Chum.
Well, that explains it. For one thing, I don't go to that part of town. A man like me sets foot in that den of ruffians, and I'll have every Tom, Dick, and Harry challenging me to a fight. Not that I couldn't take them, but I have better ways to train my body than beating thugs. Anyway, I don't drink. Dulls the mind and softens the body.
I see. Well, just thought I'd ask.
I'm sorry I can't help you, Mr. Fordham, but I hope you solve whatever it is you're investigating. You seem like a nice enough sort.
Tell me about your uncle.
You know Tom?
I've met him, yes. He's the one who told me where you lived.
Oh, right. Well, my uncle is, an interesting man.
Is that an interesting of the good or bad variety?
I really wish he would take better care of himself is all. I have the feeling that he's on some sort of drug, although he always denies it.
What gives you that impression?
Well, most of the time he acts completely normal. He goes to work, visits with me. Sometimes we go out together to the theater or a gallery. But some days his mood changes. He goes very solitary, won't leave his house, gets short with me. One time I went to visit him, I heard him yelling along with what sounded like furniture being knocked about. It only happened once, but it worried me. I hope Tom isn't in any sort of trouble.
Opium is one hell of a drug. It's a good thing you never got to that point with the soporific, or Adelaide would have thrown you out much sooner.
Are you all right, Mr. Fordham?
Yes, I'm fine.
What? Too soon?
Could you give me Tom's address?
You don't have it? I thought you said you'd spoken with him.
I visited him at the cathedral.
But if he's there, why do you want his address?
I have reason to believe he may be somehow involved in a murder.
That's a serious accusation, Mr. Fordham. What proof do you have?
Nothing concrete just yet, which is why I'd like to investigate his home.
Well, you're not the police, so I'm not obligated to tell you. I'm sorry, but you'll need more than just a suspicion to convince me.
On second thought, never mind. Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Yes, it most certainly does. My lady love is named Priscilla Poundstone.
I see. What can you tell me about her?
Oh, she's a darling. I love her very much. Such a kind and gentle soul she is, too. Loves animals, especially dogs. We've been together for ages and are due to be married soon.
When was the last time you saw her?
Saw her? Oh, no, Mr. Fordham. She doesn't live in New Britannia. She attends Miss Threadneedle's Academy for Young Ladies in Cormorant.
She lives in New Holland?
That's right. I've never actually met Priscilla face to face. We communicate exclusively through correspondence.
How did you two get involved?
Her father and mine were old military friends. They decided between them that their children would be engaged.
And you're both in agreement?
Yes. I admit at first I was a bit hesitant, but we share many of the same interests. The distance between us is not a detriment to our love.
I wonder how that will change once they actually begin cohabiting.
So you correspond regularly with Priscilla?
That's right. At least one letter a week. My uncle does me the kindness of acting as courier.
Do you think I might have a look at one of those letters?
What for? They're private correspondence.
I understand, but I feel this is important. Perhaps you could show me one that isn't too personal.
Yes, I suppose that would be all right. In fact, I think there's a recent one on the shelf there. That's not too private. But you won't need to take it, will you?
Not at all. I just want to have a look. You're very into physical conditioning, aren't you?
Oh, you noticed. Yes, I believe that a healthy body is just as important as a healthy mind, if not more so.
Well, he's definitely prioritizing the former.
It's important to keep fit, especially at a job like mine where I'm in a chair most of the day.
What job is that?
I'm a clerk at the Bank of Vespuccia, but someday I hope to leave and teach others about the health benefits of regular exercise. Perhaps even open up my own gymnasium.
Ha! He actually thinks people are gonna go for that? Good luck to him.
How do you feel about the election outcome?
I'm disappointed. Atwood may not have been the greatest PM, but he was pro-steam tech. Sure, the Ligeia incident was a tragedy, but people are too quick to judge. Steam technology is a boon to mankind. It's already enriched my life considerably. It's a shame that progress is going to be held back because of one isolated occurrence.
Thanks for your time.
Not a problem.
Wait just a minute. Something's off here. The handwriting in this letter is different to the one we found before. There's something strange going on with this Priscilla.
Could I ask you a few more questions, Mr. Bunkeridge?
All right, but try not to take too long. Don't want to drop my heart rate too much.
About your uncle's address?
What about it? Why do you want it?
I think there's something going on between him and Priscilla.
Something going on? What do you mean?
I found a letter addressed to you from her at the cathedral, and the handwriting is different to the letter you have here.
He has one of her letters? Why would he?
I'm not sure, which is why I'd like to search his home and find out more.
If he's going behind my back, I swear I'll...
Calm yourself, Mr. Bunkeridge. If I find anything, you'll be the first to know.
All right. Tom lives at 117 Gimlet Terrace in Worcester.
Hey, we're practically neighbors.
Here, I've got a spare key. If you find anything about him and Priscilla, you'll tell me, won't you?
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Bunkeridge. Thanks for your time.
Not a problem.
Nice place. Tidy. Nothing incriminating that I can see.
People rarely leave anything incriminating out in the open. It's time to have a look around.
A statue of Eros, I believe? God of love or lust or something. Man babies in diapers never did much for me. That's odd. There are some scratches on the floor next to that statue. How about that? Looks like we found Singing Tom's buried treasure.
Let's just see what we have here.
Interesting stuff, but what about the box itself? It seems Puffin's gun has gone missing. He should really take better care of his things. Jenkins and Bowen. The name shares the initials that were on the murder weapon. That's quite a coincidence, wouldn't you say?
I would if I believed in coincidences.
Puffin's music room is a bit lacking in comparison to the one in the painting. Huh. I was wondering when he was going to show up. Puffin's daily planner. The man leads an even more boring life than you. Who knew that was even possible? No point wasting time searching Puffin's bedroom. I have a feeling that if there's something to find, it's here in the sitting room. So Puffin plays at home, too? His poor neighbors.
Pardon me, Edwards.
Yes?
Edwards, do you know much about the effects of opium?
Quite a great deal, unfortunately. It's all the rage these days. Most people use it to calm the nerves or relieve pain, but it's highly addictive and has numerous adverse effects.
Such as?
It depends, really. Most common are sweating, nausea, memory loss, or blurred vision. But more serious cases can lead to hallucination, violent mood swings, coma, or even death. I just had a case in here a few weeks ago who died from an opium overdose. It wasn't pretty.
Doesn't sound like it. Thanks for the information, Edwards.
Anytime.
I'll be going now, Edwards.
Take care, Fordham.
Things are starting to fall into place here, Miles. Between the letters, the missing gun, and what Edwards told us about the effects of opium, I think we have enough evidence to consider Puffin a suspect.
Have you got time for a few more questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, of course.
Are you familiar with someone who goes by the name Jimbo?
No, I don't think so. Who is that?
A friend of Ronan's.
No, as I told you, I didn't know Ronan to have any friends. I especially don't recall him mentioning anyone called Jimbo.
Did Ronan know anyone named Priscilla?
Priscilla? No, I never heard that name before. Who is she?
Just a name that's come up in my investigation.
I wonder if Ronan had finally met a young woman.
Oh, boy. Now you've done it.
I've completed my investigation of your brother's murder, Mrs. Morgan.
You have? Oh, that's such a relief to hear. Who killed him?
It was Tom Puffin, choir master at St. Denis Cathedral.
What? But why would a member of the church do something like that?
Puffin is in love with his nephew Ned's fiancée, Priscilla. He's even gone so far as to intercept their letters and write to each of them under false pretenses. Mr. Puffin is also an avid opium user and is prone to fits of rage as well as hallucinations. The evening of the murder, Puffin was at the Silent Raven, and in his opium-induced fog mistook your brother for Ned. He had his pistol on him, and his rage and jealousy got the better of him. Poor Ronan was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And what about the clothes he was wearing? Or why he was in Chumley in the first place?
I'm afraid your brother fell victim to a cooping gang. They dragged him to Chumley and forced him to vote multiple times. He was wearing someone else's clothes as part of a disguise.
My poor brother. So what happens now?
Now, I'll inform Miss Upton of my findings, and she'll send an officer along to arrest Puffin. From there, justice will be served accordingly.
I see. Thank you for your help, Mr. Fordham.
Tom Puffin?
Yes, may I help you, officer?
You're under arrest for the murder of Ronan Lespay.
What? Oh, God. So it wasn't a dream.
Come along, sir. We need to question you at the station.
You know, Miles, you've been coming in here a lot lately, but you've never looked quite this glum. What's going on?
I've bungled things pretty badly at home. Been staying with a friend the past couple of weeks.
I see. What happened?
I haven't been honest with my wife. Coming here and drowning my sorrows hasn't really helped, oddly enough. And yet, it's all I can do to keep from going crazy.
You know, Miles, I've seen and heard a lot of things over the years. Some of the stories would turn your hair white. But through it all, I've come to learn one thing. It's usually not too late to make things better, but only if you let yourself try.
Thank you for the advice, Patrick.
All I can do is give it, Miles. Whether you choose to take it or not is entirely up to you. Now, would you like another gin?
No, thank you. This time I really do need to be on my way. I should go and see how my wife is doing.
I see. Well, have a good night, Miles. And good luck to you.
Who in the ether? Miles? This is a surprise.
Addie, it's so good to see you. I've been such an idiot lately.
Well, I'm glad you can admit to it. Would you like to come in?
Very much.
Was there something you wanted to talk about?
I've given it a lot of thought, and I think it's time I finally told you the truth.
Miles, what are you doing? You know this is a terrible idea.
The truth?
About why I've been acting the way I have been since Bill died.
Well, go on. I'm listening.
Don't do it, Miles. You know it's a one-way ticket to Riverview if you do.
I've been hearing Bill's voice ever since he died.
Fordham, what is wrong with you?
His voice?
I can't believe this! You've just destroyed your life! I hope you realize that!
Yes, in my head, at all hours. That's why I was taking the soporific. It was the only way to keep him quiet. Or so I thought. Turns out that alcohol has the same effect.
What does he say to you?
The type of things he'd say when he was alive. Snarky comments, inappropriate jokes. Mainly he nags me to find the flower shop burglar. He thinks doing that will let him find peace and move on.
I see.
I told you you'd never believe me.
Don't be ridiculous, Miles. It's nothing like that. It's just, I wish you had told me sooner is all.
I know, but I was afraid.
Well, I'm glad you finally trusted me. You know, you could have all along.
So, you're all right with it?
It is quite a lot to take in. I think I'll need some time to mull it over. But what matters now is that we can work through this together.
I understand. Well, I should probably go. It was lovely to see you again, Addie.
Lovely to see you too, Miles.
Perhaps I'll stop by again next week?
Or sooner, if you'd like.
Sure. Like the men in white coats aren't gonna have you taken away by then.
Right. I'll see myself out then.
Good night, Miles.
Fordham, wake up.
He just leapt over the side. Oh, Upton. What's going on?
Goodness, Fordham. You look terrible. Is everything all right?
Just had some trouble sleeping. More than usual.
Well, I hope you've rested enough, because I've got something very important to show you.
Oh, wonderful. If we're sharing information now, are you gonna tell Upton about me as well?
What is it?
There's been a murder.
I assume this one is special somehow, or you wouldn't be bringing it to me.
I thought that great detectives never assumed.
There are exceptions to every rule.
Anyway, you're right. The victim in question is a member of Parliament, a man named Percival McDonough, to be precise. But this is the real corker. The murder is clearly the work of the Justice Killer.
The Justice Killer? Is that the mass murderer I've been hearing about?
The very same.
Why Justice Killer, though?
It's part of his modus operandi. He kills his victims with a single gunshot to the head, then writes the word justice somewhere in the room with the victim's blood.
Talk about melodramatic.
The police are stumped. This is the killer's 5th victim, and there isn't a single lead.
So you want me to investigate?
Not just yet. First, I need you to look at these sketches.
You took crime scene sketches from the department?
Of course not. I made copies with the station's Pharaoh duplicator. These killings need to stop, and I believe you can succeed where the department has so far failed.
So, what am I looking for?
The police went over each crime scene with a fine-toothed comb and turned up practically no useful physical evidence. I want a second opinion from you. If you can find some sort of link between them, it might be possible to track this monster down.
All right, let's see what we can see. Maybe there's something that Snelling's finest overlooked.
Here are the 4 sketches. Have a look at them and see if you notice anything that might help us find this maniac.